Good morning. It is 6:27 a.m. on Friday, October 11th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes because even though it worked okay for a couple of days with a new setup, the Facebook Live resumed doing its dumb stuff yesterday, even though I hadn't changed anything. And so I'm trying another slight modification of the setup. We'll see. If you watch this on YouTube or at my website at christianaellis.com, you're probably, you probably have not dealt with this in a little while because you've only been seeing the locally recorded version. But in the meantime, we'll see. Mike and I recorded talking about Survivor last night, and it's less about that, recording of that podcast and more about the episode we talked about. But this week's episode of Survivor definitely pressed some emotional buttons for me. It was, without getting overly into it, because if you care about Survivor, I would urge you to watch us have the full conversation. And if you don't, then the details are unimportant. But suffice to say that this week's episode of Survivor is kind of the second week running where we have someone really struggling with feelings of whether or not they're included and belong within a social group, and feeling sort of alienated and yet dependent on the group that they're not feeling part of. And boy, I've got some emotional baggage that sort of thing really triggers. Certainly there's a lot of, the concept of imposter syndrome is much more current these days. Like, there's a lot more talk about it, and I think that's good, because one of the things that absolutely is true is that people will frequently, whether it's just about being friends with a group of people or any measure of professional success or anything like that, it's true that a lot of our brains are very good at trying to undermine that sort of success by finding anything that, suggests, well, you don't really belong here, that sort of thing. And so, and yet, it's also true that there are some times where you have a group of people, a social group, and there's one person who just really doesn't fit in very well, and that there's two sides of that relationship, right? On the one hand, lots of times the person who's the outlier in a social situation will, like, they'll be making their best effort, but they have things about them that make them different than everybody else, and that can be an obstacle to overcome in terms of, like, really feeling integrated socially. And you would hope that the rest of the group is open to accepting those differences, and sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, and sometimes it's a bumpy road regardless of what everybody's intentions are. Right? So you can absolutely have a situation where someone is imperfectly attempting to fit in. And you can also have, at the same time, a group that is making an effort to be open-minded and inclusive, but doesn't always know how best to do that, and does still react to some of those imperfect attempts. And so, social relationships are complicated, right? And it's the idea that someone feels like they don't fit in. There are so many pieces that go into that, and I don't have any solutions here. It's more just a matter of some of those things that I think about sometimes, were really highlighted in the last couple of episodes of Survivor. And it sounds like the Facebook Live is lagging again, which is infuriating. Facebook Live, dear Facebook Live, what the hell? I have not changed anything about my setup. My upload speed is fine. I can do it, like, watch here. I'm gonna do speed test. Internet speed test. I'm gonna do an internet speed test. I can do it live on camera, and people can see that. Okay. I'm doing a live internet speed test, so everyone who keeps suggesting that it's my internet speed can see that that's not the issue. So, see, the download speed obviously is not the primary thing that plays into streaming. And I'm certainly not blaming anyone who is watching right now. I'm just saying that this has been an ongoing issue. But look at this. My upload speed, 11.5. That's it's not like the fastest, but a lot of the things that your internet should be able to handle, multiple devices streaming HD videos and so on. So it's, I'm not blaming anyone for suggesting that internet speed seems like it would be the most likely explanation, but that's not it. So, all right, so this is why I considered just stopping and not doing Facebook Live at all anymore, and I kind of even made that decision and then backtracked on it. But I don't know what to do about it. I've tried everything I can think of. So I suppose I could think of more things, but I'm at a point where I don't understand. Like, whatever's doing it is clearly something where it makes no sense. Anyway, I've got to get ready for work, so I'm going to leave it here. I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes. And again, if you can hear me right now, I know what's happening on the Facebook Live video. I know that's happening. It's not that I don't want people to tell me if it's happening, but believe me, I know. And you can always watch the YouTube version or the version on my website, which I'm recording locally now, and won't have that issue. And so it's only Facebook Live that has this problem, and I'm only having to do it because Facebook Live's interaction is dumb. So anyway, thank you for words of support.